This week's Court of the Rings was a bit special because the whole entire show was actually hosted by Orion. So I guess I can say welcome to my recap of Orion of the Rings on July 21st. Orion started off talking a bit about the crafting refresh as an overall. He says it's going well, everything's going as planned, and he's hoping that all the professions are broken out of vocations for update 37. What that means is that you're no longer going to be able to pick, like, say, an explorer vocation. Instead, you'll be picking the professions themselves, so tailor, forester, prospector, scholar, etc. So we're hoping that by update 37 all the professions will be broken out of the vocations. You can select the different professions that you want. And don't worry, all of these changes will not change any progress you have on your previous vocations. Let's say your forester is maxed out, then it'll still be maxed out when these changes happen. If your weaponsmith is maxed out, it'll still be maxed out, and so forth. So the plan is for everyone to have 3 profession slots, and they also want to add a 4th profession slot, maybe a short while after update 37, probably not on the release of update 37, and at the latest update 38 should have the 4th profession slot. He also mentioned some other topics of the crafting refresh, and what they're trying to do now for future tiers of crafting is to make you able to start on that tier regardless of your previous progress. So eventually, when we get the Umbar crafting tier later this year, even though you haven't completed the previous tiers of crafting, you should be able to start on the Umbar tier regardless. So that's a really good change that they're planning to implement. You don't have to do the older tiers of crafting to unlock the brand new tier that's recently been released. He also talked about the plan for future items, crafted items that will be upgradable through using luck stones. So luck stones we've already seen in the forester crafting event as rewards, and the plan is that upgradable crafting gear should be able to compete with raid gear. So to me it sounds like the idea is that you can craft these items in the beginning, and as we progress through the level cap and get more and more gear through endgame instances and raiding, then crafting gear should unlock more tiers for you to upgrade with your lucky stones. He said that most gear pieces will have 1 to 5 tiers to upgrade, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't have to be 5, it could be 3 tiers that you can upgrade. And if you upgrade, like say like you have an item and you use a luck stone, upgrade the first upgrade, then maybe that upgrade will give you an extra essence slot, maybe the second one will be an essence slot, maybe the third one will be a bonus of some kind, who knows. There's a lot of things they can do. And Orion also said that the plan is that you shouldn't really have to raid to earn your items to upgrade your upgradable crafted gear. When it comes to luck stones, that will of course be one of the most important items in the crafting upgrading. Then these items should be available through multiple sources. We already know that they're going to be available in the crafting events. And Orion also mentioned that other places where you could get these luck stones could be through your crafting guild. So if you have a good crafting guild tier, you're probably going to be able to craft these weekly or daily or so. Luck stones should also probably eventually be available through the delving system or featured instances, maybe even dropping from classic instances as well. And Orion also mentioned the possibility of these items dropping from crafting nodes found on landscape. The crafting guilds should also matter more now, and there should be more recipes through the crafting guild. That's probably where you're going to get most of the recipes to craft your upgradable, let's call it the best crafting gear. So crafting guilds should have more importance. Orion did play through the new Forester crafting event on stream, and if you haven't seen how this event works, I released a video going through how the event works, how you do it, and all the rewards. So you can go ahead and look it up on my channel if you want a closer look at that event. Orion said they will be adding deeds, giving more rewards to the events, the crafting events. And we have rewards already for the Forester event, but the plan is for the future they can always bring out new rewards to these events, giving us new stuff to work for. And of course, every profession eventually will have its own event. So not just Forester, but Cook, Prospector, Scholar, etc. Every profession should have its own unique event. And when it comes to possible future events, Orion mentioned a few of them. He talked about the Prospector event, where you might have control of a worker who will help you. He talked about a cooking event called Mithril Chef Shire, and that's a cooking event that will happen in the Shire, something Orion has dreamed of making for 15 years. So that's highly likely that there's going to be a cooking event in the Shire. He also talked about the possibility of another Forester event, possibly being located somewhere in Rohan. And when it comes to the Scholar event, he is considering the libraries of Minas Tirith, maybe the Matham House, or even the last homely house. So there's several locations. So from those teases, I think we can probably expect the next event to either be prospecting, cooking, Forester, or Scholar. So more crafting events are coming. Moving on from crafting, he got asked about how the Hunter rework is going, and he just simply replied, "That's next on my plate," and that will be update 38. So Hunter rework or refresh should be arriving with the expansion later this year with update 38. He was also asked about Bull Roarer, and as we know, we already had the first beta for update 37, and he said the plan is for another beta to release this week, and then hopefully a third and a fourth test as well for update 37. Towards the tail end of the stream, he wanted to talk about stat changes. Obviously, the stat squish will stay. We're getting lower numbers on everything, and I think the player base as a whole, everyone agrees and welcomes this stat squish. When it comes to the stat changes to Might, Agility, Will, Vitality, and Fate, it wasn't really ideal the first draft that they did. So for now, they're pulling it back and they're going to work on it to make it make more sense. So that work is going to continue until it makes sense and they're ready to give us stat changes that makes more sense than the current one that we got with the first beta. One of the problems with the stat changes were that virtues would change a lot in value, and that's not really a good thing. People have worked hard for their virtues, and the suggested main stat changes would really affect the virtues a lot, changing some of the quote-unquote useless virtues currently to be some of the best ones. So stat changes are on hold until they can figure out a better solution. He was also asked about UI changes, and the same answer as always, it's something they want to do, but they can't say when they will do it. The final thing Orion did on the stream was take a look at river hobbits, and currently all classes are available to river hobbits except for Bjorning, of course. But Orion kind of hinted that not all the classes make sense for river hobbits. Maybe rune-keeper isn't really a river hobbit class. And when asked about if river hobbits could be the new mariner class, then since they're river hobbits, it'll probably happen. Mariners should be able to be river hobbits. Hey! Hey you! Yeah, you! What do you want? You enjoy my content and you want to support me? Fine, I'll show you how you can do it. I would really appreciate if you like the video and subscribe to my channel. You can also support me through my Ko-fi homepage. If you're playing or looking to play Lord of the Rings online, there is one place you need to be. The Ghyniverse! The Ghyniverse is a Discord server created for the community of the players of Lord of the Rings Online. The server is getting close to 7,000 members, and in this server you'll find tons of helpful information. There's monthly giveaways, easy access to patch notes, you can keep up with my YouTube videos, my streams. If you're a streamer, you can ask for the streamer role and you can announce your streams in the other stream channel. There are discussion channels for pretty much everything, every class, monster players. But the best thing about this server is probably the Gearing Resources tab, where you can find anything from trait lines for every class, every build. There are stat goals, where you can find out what stats you should aim for on your characters. Really helpful information about drop rates from instances, as well as screenshot from all the new loot that appears in the game. If you enjoy Lotro, you should definitely consider joining this server, and hopefully I'll see you in Middle Earth. If you were part of the Ghyniverse already, you might have noticed that another tab appeared at the top, the LFF server. This server is a brand new server that I created, the LFF Ghyniverse. In this server, you can select which servers you want to keep up with, and once you select your server, say you select Arkenstone, you will see the LFF, the kinship advertisement, looking for kinship and trade channels, and there's also voice channels if people want to use those. The LFF channel is basically a looking for fellowship channel where people can post if they need players for the runs, and this way people don't have to be logged into the game to see the chat, they can just instead get a notification on their Discord. There's also a kinship advertisement page where kins can post their kinship advertisement and have people join their kins, and you can also post in the looking for kinship chat if you're looking for a kinship, but make sure to take a look in the kinship advertisement first and look through all the kin to find a suitable kin for you. There's also a trade channel if people want to buy or sell stuff that you can use. Hopefully you'll consider joining this server to bring the community even more together, not just in the game, but also outside of the game.